Hello and welcome to the Spreadex Six, brought to you by WhoScored, the football spread betting show previewing all the major fixtures, and this week we are looking at the Europa League. I'm your host George Elek and I'm delighted to be joined today by Jimmy The Punt, or Jimmy Cantrill. Jimmy, tell us a bit about yourself and how you got into tipping and betting.
Yeah, delighted to be here as well. I sort of just fell into tipping. I had an internship at a betting company and just sort of fell in love with the whole sort of gambling scene. I'd found before I had a lot of football opinions that nobody wanted to listen to. I could channel them into bets, educate, and just sort of really enjoy sort of slipping in through the side door of sports journalism, really. I wake up sort of most weeks and think I've got to get a proper job sooner or later, but then I get another.
No, you don't. We're all here.
Yeah.
And are you a fan of spread betting as well?
Yeah, love it. It's one of the just really exhilarating ways to bet, and it's never quite dead in the water. A lot of my tips usually are, but with spread betting, you can always pretend you've got a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. Do check out the WhoScored YouTube page for an explainer on the Spreadex Six and spread betting in general. The markets that we go through in the Spreadex Six spreads markets in football games, and they are total goals, total corners, total bookings, match performance, player goal minutes, and multi-markets as well. So if you don't know what any of that means, go back onto the WhoScored's YouTube page, watch the explainer, and come back and join us in a second. But let's get into the midweek action. This is the Europa League on Thursday, and plenty of brilliant games, all delicately poised, none of them as ties are over yet. But we'll look first at the total goals market. Atalanta versus RB Leipzig. The first leg finished 1-1. The total goal line here is 2.8 to sell, 3 to buy. But it's fair to say you think that first leg should have had a few more goals in it than just the two.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking to buy at 3.0. Based on the XG, there should have been almost 5 goals. Atalanta generated 2.02, Red Bull Leipzig generated 2.8, and to put that into perspective, in Chelsea's 6-0 rout at St Mary's at the weekend, there was just under 6 XG generated. So at this level, the elite players shouldn't be underperforming their XG by such a drastic amount. So I don't think that will continue in this game. In terms of quality chances created in that first leg, since Luis Muriel opened the scoring, the woodwork was battered. There was 34 shots, 4 hitting the post. The keepers made a combined total of 8 saves. Silva missed a penalty, and there were 6 big chances created, all of which were missed, which personally I've never seen before. So with the away goal rule abolished, I think we should be in for an equally enthralling game here. And if they bring their shooting boots, we should comfortably meet this line.
Exciting stuff. It is a game that to the neutral screams goals and should be a good watch as well. We're going to come back to that game a couple of times later on, but now looking at total corners. Total corners in Rangers against Braga. Rangers went to Braga and lost the first game 1-0. They'll be confident, hopefully, of getting a result at Ibrox. The corners line here is 10.2 to sell, 10.7 to buy, and again, you're looking at the overs.
Yeah, I'm looking to buy at 10.7, which means we'll need a minimum of 11. Luckily, well, not luckily, it's worth pointing out that Braga and Rangers' last 3 games in this competition have met this line. But it's all about game state for me here. It was the only quarter-final first leg that didn't end 1-1. Braga go to the Ibrox with a 1-0 lead to protect. And I think this game state will yield a high corner count. You'd imagine that Carlos Carvalho will sort of deploy a low block, invite pressure, look to contain and counter. And like I say, the game could end up sort of resembling a game of attack v defence. I've got to be careful how I say this, but typically north of the border, it's slightly more direct in comparison to the Premier League. I mean, the top flight English clubs, they average 50 passes more per game than they do in Scotland, and in contrast, in Scotland, they average over 4 crosses more per game than the English top flight clubs do. So using that sort of comparison as a yardstick, I think the stats begin to depict the slightly more agricultural approach in Scotland, and this combined with the game state, I think really bodes well for a high corner count.
Excellent stuff. Buying corners in Rangers against Braga at 10.7 is the corners bet. On then to bookings now, and it is Lyon versus West Ham, another game very finely poised. I think a few neutrals will be probably watching this on Thursday evening. And in the cards market, bookings market, 10 points for a yellow, 25 for a red. It is 51 to sell, 55 to buy. Seems like quite a high line, and I guess that might be because in second legs it's perceived as being more at stake, so therefore more cards, but you're looking to short this. You're going to sell at 51.
Yeah, sell at 51, so we're looking for 50 booking points or less. And like you say, the sort of consensus is as the competition hots up, so does the amount of bookings, and that is true comparatively speaking to the group stage. Last season's quarter-final second leg, I think they averaged 4 cards per game. The season before was 4.75, all bookings, so you do get more cards as you get later on in the competition, but it's still not a lot, and like I said, it wouldn't have met this line in 6 of the 8 of the last quarter-finals. As for the Hammers, with top 4 slipping out of David Moyes' grasp, there is a lot of focus on this competition, which has raised the intensity in which they play at, illustrated by the fact that in the last 3 they've received 8 yellows and 1 red card in the Europa League. But like I say, it's still not a lot, which is why I'm going to go against the grain here. Domestically, West Ham have picked up the second fewest cards in the Premier League. Similar story for Lyon, who also rank in the bottom 20% in League One. So yeah, they've only picked up 6 yellows in the last 5 games. So more than happy to sell at 51 and oppose a sort of a feisty game here.
You'd be sure with such a massive game and the possibility of playing Barcelona in the next round, David Moyes is sure to be saying to his side, make sure you keep your heads and don't go down to 10 men, because that is the key factor here in making sure that they give Lyon as big a game as possible in that leg. Get on to match performance now. Match performance, and we're going back to the big one against Atalanta and RB Leipzig. Match performance works like this: 15 points attributed for a goal, corner is 3 points, a yellow card 5 points, red card 15, a penalty awarded 10, and minus 25 for a 0-0, which is always what you're after if you're selling. It's an absolute nightmare if you're buying, and we've already heard you don't think it's going to be a stalemate between these two sides, so I'm assuming you're going to be buying that performance. The sell value is 98, but the buy value 103.
Yeah, absolutely, buying at 103. Like we've touched on, I've gone quite heavy in this game, expecting fireworks. So at 8 PM on Thursday, the boys in Bergamo could have either vindicated my faith or made me look rather foolish. So praying that it's not going to be a 0-0, and I don't think it will. But I do love this spread because it's a bit of a gut thing, really, isn't it? You're essentially asking how much drama do you think this game's going to have. I remember a while back on the Football Clichés podcast, they was sort of talking about what quantifies as a game to have had it all. The consensus there was goals at least 4. Bit of beef on the touchline, plenty of cards, and a penalty. Now, I think this matchup has all the credentials of a classic. You've got Gasperini's unorthodox sort of hodgepodge of rotation, overlapping centre-backs, and a really irritating man-to-man press versus Red Bull Leipzig, who have reverted back to their old blueprint under the tutelage of one-time wunderkind Domenico Tedesco, against the backdrop of the City of 1,000, the Queen of Provinces, the allure of the European silverware and a spot in the semi-finals up for grabs. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm a bit giddy for this one, and I think there's going to be plenty of drama.
You can hear the journalism coming out in you there. Yeah, so buying at 103, the way that you are playing match performance, one you seem very keen on in Atalanta against RB Leipzig. 2 more in the Spreadex Six. Next up is player goal minutes, and we are looking at Barcelona against Frankfurt here. The first leg, 1-1 in Frankfurt. Barcelona helped by a red card to the home side. And coming to this one, obviously favourites, with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang having been such a key part in their good form under new manager Xavi. His player goal minute spread is 34 to sell, 37 to buy. Which way are you looking to go?
Yeah, I'm looking to buy at 37. Really interesting market, this one. I do enjoy betting on. As well, Aubameyang's first few months in Catalonia have gone like a dream. It's been sort of dubbed, his signing's been sort of dubbed a gift from heaven, which is a bit much, but the point stands that he fits Xavi's tactical evolution perfectly. He's made 14 appearances, so he started 11, scored 10, which is incredible, and he loves this competition. Only Ramadal Falcao and Alderweireld have scored more Europa League goals than his 24. And statistically speaking, he would have met this line in 75% of the games he's scored in, with his average goal minute coming in at 42 minutes, half his goals coming in the first half, half his goal coming in the second half, but remember, he's scored a couple of braces and a hat-trick, I think. As for Eintracht Frankfurt, they could have sold out their stadium capacity 5 times over for the visit of Barcelona in the first leg, and I think that speaks to the magnitude of the occasion and the task at hand at the Camp Nou. So the host fixed odds price is around 2 to 5, which gives an implied probability of them winning at 71%. So given the fact that they've They were unbeaten in the last 15. I think they will get the job done here, and I fancy Aubameyang to be amongst the goal scorers.
Yeah, I wonder if he misses sitting on the bench at the Emirates at the moment when banging them in for Barcelona, buying at 37, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Multi-markets now, and this is where you combine event values for different things. In the game here, we've got goals times corners, as simple as it sounds. The amount of goals times by the amount of corners. Back to Atalanta against RB Leipzig, and it's 28 to sell, 31 to buy. You bought goals, you bought match performance. I assume you're going to be back buying here in goals by corners.
Yeah, absolutely. Not looking to hedge my bets. Buying at 31. Not a lot more to say about the first leg really, but in terms of goal mouth action, that game at the Red Bull Arena was no fluke. The Italian top flight has been the place to go for goals this season, and Atalanta, the goddess, have topped the goal scoring charts for the last 3 seasons. In fact, in Europe's top 5 divisions, only Bayern scored more goals than them last campaign. Their issue is they also concede an awful lot, which is good news for Red Bull Leipzig. They currently rank 4th in the Bundesliga for goals scored with 64. And now just a bit of basic logic, goals are synonymous with shots and shots are synonymous with corners, right? So the first leg saw 34 shots, which was the most in of any quarter-final first leg. And surprise, surprise, it also saw the most corners, 13. Now that 2 times 13 wouldn't quite have been enough to meet this line, but as we touched on, both sides were extremely wasteful, and I don't fancy them to be that wasteful again on Thursday. So I think if they can be a little bit more clinical, we'll meet this line quite comfortably.
You're going to be very popular with Spreadex Six viewers and backers. If there's plenty of goals in this one, I can tell you that. With your Spreadex Six completed now? Which is the one? Which is the nap? The one you would fancy the strongest?
I've got to go match performance in Atalanta-RB Leipzig.
Yeah, not surprised given the way you delivered it there. Thank you very much to Jimmy for sharing his thoughts, his Spreadex Six with us here. Do check out the WhoScored YouTube page for plenty more Spreadex Six content as well, and coming in the coming days and weeks too. Hopefully a couple of wins in there as well. Hopefully you enjoy the football on Thursday evening, and as ever, please do gamble responsibly.